Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. Today is Friday, and what do we do on Fridays? We paint flowers on Fridays. Why not? And today I thought we'd do something really fun. Super fun, loose, wet on wet, semi-abstract in some areas, but mostly abstract flowers. This is just so much fun. You're just pushing paper, pushing paintbrushes around paper, putting water next to that and seeing it bleed, and removing it, and then adding it. And then at the end, adding some real concentrated flowers just on top of it. So it adds a whole different look to it. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments section. Let me know if you like to paint anything abstract or abstract flowers, if there's something that appeals to you. Also, check out my Patreon. I have ad-free videos, traceables, exclusive tutorials on Thursdays, and a live stream on the top tier. It's just a place people go and support my channel, which I appreciate so much. And those tutorials are a little bit longer, in depth. They come with reference photos and traceables. So you can check at that. Out right up here on the right hand corner. Boop. Okay, without further ado, let's get painting. All right, guys, let me talk about supplies. I'll start off by using my 9x12 block from Fabriano. It's the Artistico 100% cotton paper. Paper towels, paints, I go over them as I use them. I'll be working with my flat wash 3/4 inch Velvet Touch series brush. Maybe my Princeton 8 round Velvet Touch series. My number 12 Neptune brown brush. We'll be using, besides watercolor paint, this Liquidtex acrylic white ink. And yeah, so this is just like a really fast, simple kind of tutorial on just playing around with loose, abstract kind of watercolor. So I'm going to grab some of this ultramarine blue that I have here. Get that kind of loose. And what I'm going to do is just take some blue and kind of do this like this zigzag kind of thing here. Right, and put another one up in here. Or a couple of them. I know, these look like little flowers, right there. And now I'm going to add the magenta I have here. So it's purple. Get some more blue. So you get some purple going here. And I'm going to make some bigger swipes. I know there's a method to my madness. They're kind of close together. Let's put another one. This is really kind of concentrated paint, by the way. Up here, just simple, goofy, flat flowers like that. All right. I'm going to clean up my brush. And I'm going to grab that magenta itself. And then do something down here as well. Just these simple, goofy, like star-like flowers, right? Now from here, I'm going to clean off my brush, get a bunch of water on it, and we're going to kind of like loosen up that paint we just painted, right? So I might hold it, move it around like this. I'm going to just grab a lot of water, kind of go next to that, and loosen that up. Now that's why the paper towel is good to get close by. I'm just going to kind of push this paint out like this. See that? Get some water. Just kind of pushing it out. I know, kind of looks goofy. And then I'll grab some water. See I'm clanking and kind of moving this paint here. Now we can kind of hold it again up here and grab some water and kind of have it bleed. It's going to bleed down where the water goes. If I keep adding water down below, it's going to keep bleeding. See? Downward. It's only going to go where the water is. See, I'm making it bleed downward. Don't bleed. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just loosening up that paint. And I'm clanking, adding more water till it goes to the bottom of the page. Bleeding that whole. Give it a little push, push that magenta and then purple. And if you want to take your paper towel and whip at some of the color that's bleeding that you don't like, you just go like that. I'm just going to loosen that up a little bit more. Now I'm going to go tilt the paper upside down. It's kind of dried, so I'm going to play with adding some water here. I'll go back in and get some blue. Right? And just change that color. Again, it's dripping, so just grab that paper towel, kind of lift that paint. And then here, you can just take water, just kind of push out the paint like this. Just move it around. Watch it move around. Again, loosen up this edge. I'm going to add a little more blue. Just kind of moving the paint around. Kind of looks silly, right? The flowers kind of look silly. And I'm going to, again, loosen it up here. So I'm just moving it around like this. And go like that. And loosen that up. Now, at this point, they're kind of like starbursts. You can do this thing where you're removing the paint, right? Or I have a little pink on my brush, but I'm lifting up some of this paint. Or take the paper towel, just a little bit wet, but kind of like push it. Let me grab another one. Remove it. It just makes a really kind of cool effect. Still keeping that hard edge. Right? And this really kind of really atmospheric. This part is still kind of wet down here, which I want to keep. And this, if it's wet, not wet anymore, you can kind of get it wet. And you want to remove some of the color up here. See, I'm removing some of that. I don't want to keep the color up there. That is just really cool. Now I'm going to make some greens. And I'm going to use my flat wash brush, right? Because I want to do some stems. So I've got the yellow with the peacock blue. Makes a nice pretty green. That's really bright. I might add a little brown. I don't know if I want it that bright. Maybe a little bit more blue. So it's kind of an olivey kind of green. And then you can kind of make some stems going down. Just crisscross or however you like to do it. You could add a little more yellow. More peacock, a little brighter, I guess. Take your brush, kind of twist it out for some leaves and some stems. See how I kind of twist them? I'm going to add some Prussian blue now. Twist it out. See that? Get some green coming from this area. And there would be green kind of coming in here, and then a stem. See? Holding it on its side. That's really kind of concentrated, by the way, this color. And then out here, you can just do some really just simple marks. Right? See that? Just holding it on its side. I'm going to grab a little more yellow. This is really concentrated paint, by the way. Really concentrated watercolor. I'm just kind of dipping in, up and down. And then here you can kind of push and turn. Push down and turn, or push down and turn this way. It makes some kind of cool leaves. Look at that. And then from there, you could add, I would add some Prussian blue to make the green a little bit darker. I'm just kind of bleeding that in there. If you want to add some burnt umber, it's right in there. I could put a leaf kind of going in here, highlighting that pink area, see? Now I've gone in here and I've gotten that a little bit darker, outlined, and you can see the shape of the flower. Kind of cool, right? Now at this point, you can water it down to be green, but I don't really want green down there. I'm going to grab some ultramarine blue, maybe with a little neutral tint or another color, so I want it kind of gray. I'm going to lift up my paper. I'm just going to bleed some of this grayish color downward, and right here, just play with this green, just kind of push it around. Let's go right in there. I'm going to get more of that blackish color going right over in here, right on my finger. Does it matter? No. Playing, adding this green just to really highlight this, the flower petals. Just get in there. At this point, you can also do some really cool tricks. You take the end of your brushes or whatever you have and start scraping the paper where like stems would go. And you can go back in and water in that, kind of like wash it in there. I'm going to add some water. Just kind of bleed this green around. I'm tapping this and removing it and putting it on the paper towel. See? Like this. You get this nice, cool kind of atmospheric look. And I'm going to add a little more. I'll take some of my verdtier blue, which is kind of pretty. Water this down. Put that up in here. Now at this point I haven't used the Liquidtex white ink yet. I'm going to do that in a second. Going to add some more blues back in here. Let me grab my ultramarine. Woo! Very bright. Tip tapping. Go back and add some more water. Moving that color around. I'm going to just grab some yellow on the side of my brush here for the center of these flowers. Just tip tapping it. Right, I can add a little, this red color, a little orangey red. Just kind of tapping in underneath here. See, that would be the center. And you can add some yellow around in here. Why not get really creative, you know, and out in here. So I've got this blue, got it kind of wet. I want to get a little wet again. Some greens and some more blue purple colors. Just want to get them a little wetter again. And I'll show you why. Add some more purple blues and some of this pink. So I'm going to take that white acrylic ink that I have and I'm going to splatter it on my paper. I'm just going to use my big brush here. Get a little bit wet. I can add a little water to it. And it's going to repel where it's wet. It's kind of cool. To make this really funky kind of look to some of the flowers. You see me doing this in many tutorials. Now you don't have to do that. You can just leave it alone if you don't want to do that. So I'm loving this, how it's going here. And up here I feel like it got too much of a hard edge, so I'll go back in and I'll wet some of this. Get that purple back in here. It's very wet. That's why I did it on a block. When you do it on a block and it's super wet, it will dry flat. But if it's not in a block, when you go in really hard in with wet on wet, it's just gonna be all wrinkly. You might not necessarily like that. So I'm playing around with this purple here. I might like wisp out some color again. Even though I just splattered some, I can go in here and remove some. Tap, tap, remove. Again, I might go back in here and just get some nice deep concentrated right by that yellow center in here. But I do want to add some more cool kind of marks. You can do that with pencil or even just like a flat brush. So I'm grabbing some of that brown mixed with that green. Some yellow, here we go. Going right in here with my paint. A little more brown. Okay. See, just little marks. Could even be almost blackish brown here. Prussian blue. I really like this cross kind of movement. I'm just drawn to doing something across. Even go right over the flowers. And then you can just do some turn leaves. Something simple like that. It can get really lighter and looser if you just went back in here with your, don't do too much though, because then you're wrecking the paper. Tapping, see I'm tapping all this color together. And then I'm lifting it up again with paper towel. Ooh, making really cool kind of texture. Kind of wiping away. Get that really kind of cool, funky texture. I'm gonna put some yellow in here. I might want to take out even more paint. I don't want the paper to like start to bead, so I'm gonna kind of have to leave it Just kind of leave it where it is. Just playing around. You can still see those little scratch marks. It's pretty quick and easy, right? And you just go in if you want with the small brush for the details. So that the pink, I would go a little darker, kind of close to where the center is. You want to do a couple little lines going outward, you know, like little scrape lines or pull-in lines. So almost like a Cosmo, you know. Some nice little details in here. Kind of adds a little extra something, even though it's kind of abstract. You don't have to do that. The blue, ultramarine blue, it's getting really purpley over here. Same thing, you can add some like even swooping kind of, whoosh. So you're making that almost like petals. Swoop. And this one got a little too carried away with yellow up in here. I have to go back in and add some blue. It might get a little green. Let's see. It's best sometimes to wait till it's dry, then go ahead and go back in there and add that, because that's how it gets it gets muddy if you don't. But I want to go back and add that blue. I'm just kind of wiggling this color up in here. Getting some nice deep blue. And again, you can just do some strokes to indicate flower petals. Not necessary, but it's kind of fun. And that was that. When this is all dry, you can still go back in and do some more, you know, I would do some stems, some cool stems. See, I'm going back in with the skinny brush, playing around with crisscrossy grasses. That's always fun to do too. See, crisscross grass up in here. You can just water some of this down, loosen that up. This is pretty intense up in here. I might loosen some of this up too. Just getting it wet and then tapping with my paper towel. I'm liking this movement going this way. That's why I grabbed some deeper green. And it doesn't matter. It can go right over the flower. See, I kind of put that right over the flower. Just having this movement. And then you can have some leaves coming off these. Grasses or leaves. Whatnot. So much fun to do this. You're just playing. Just playing. And that's that. That's how I create my little abstract floral. If you want to add some other bright, like I might go in and grab some yellow and do some little ditzy doodads, right? Just some concentrated yellow and just do some taps. So like there's a little teeny yellow flower down here. And then over in here, kind of tip-tapping it. I'd probably use a bigger brush than this, but then up in here, tip-tapping. Obviously there's like a yellow flowers coming off the stem. You can do another one up here. It just adds a little something extra. I think I'm going to do some more of these yellow, little teeny dip-tap flowers. So I'm going to just take my concentrated yellow paint here. Just take my bigger brush, which is the 10 at Princeton. And you see I'm just kind of tapping a little yellow, minimal water on these little flowers. I'll do a few over in here. It's like a little cluster. Just gonna try, you know, you have this really atmospheric kind of flowers, and then you can go in and add some more concentrated color. I'm gonna go back over here, that purple, and get that yellow in there. It's just kind of fun to play around adding some other stuff. So it can be really loose, but yet, see, like yellow in the grasses. You can even add white daisies. I would add it with a white gouache. Just put a white gouache down. Or you could still use that acrylic ink. Now I clean up this brush, the number 10. Just grab a little of this gouache and see what happens. So we just put simple little daisies. I know it's like slightly, well, not slightly, it's kind of like abstract slash not, right? The combination is kind of fun. It's just semi-abstract. Just throw a couple of these daisies in here, kind of going this way again, right? You can put one up in here. Simple daisy flowers. Just with the white gouache. It just changes that whole look, doesn't it? Do one more kind of here. And add a yellow center. Just really simple, keep it simple. Don't go too crazy. Boom. And that's kind of it. I mean, if you wanted to add some more grasses, I would do a little darker. Like, let's get this ultramarine blue mixed in with my green. I got the Prussian blue. Really like a deep, deep green or blackish brown. Go under that daisy. You can put a couple of like dark leaves. Just a few. You're just changing it up ever so slightly. See, it's getting concentrated all in this little corner here. This is how I go about doing some fun, crazy stuff. Make it a little bit different. Yeah. I just really want this whole concentration. The grass is kind of going this way. That's kind of my goal. And then there you go. And then if you really just want to just add a couple of elements by grabbing some brown or color, dark blue, mix with that. Just a little undercolor right under here, just to pop up that yellow. Boom. And that is that. I might go back in. Oh, I didn't put my yellow and the daisy up in here. You know, play around with some more leaves and things like that. We're done. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. So I might balance it a little bit more by putting some, maybe like a pink flower down here. You know, a little lighter pink flower. Kind of just wiggle this flower down here, like a little flower, pinkness. There's a couple of pink petals over here. Just playing around with that color again, and I'll put it down and I'll kind of wash around it. I just feel like it needs more pink. A little surprise. This bright fuchsia kind of pink here. Little tidbit of it here. You're just playing around with just adding that little bright element. And then I'll go put a nice little yellow center in there. So that's how I would go about doing some kind of crazy, wild, atmospheric slash semi-abstract. I don't know what you would call it. Because I put those daisies. You can go crazy putting daisies in. You can put a bunch of little daisies. All these little daisies. You can have so much fun doing that with the gouache. Now this one's a little translucent, which is kind of fun. And then you can make them a little more opaque. I kind of like wish the translucent's a little bit better because therefore it just kind of blends right nicely in with the abstract. Put another one right up in here. Boom. And that's that. So thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel. I hope you enjoyed this little fun, crazy abstract, semi-abstract kind of floral. And if you have any questions in the comment section, like I said, you're just pushing down color and you're washing it away, removing it, splattering it, putting some stems. Get real expressive with your painting. It's a lot of fun. All right, guys, take care, and I'll speak to you soon.